A Facebook page for God TV just released this video on the 9th of May. It features a pastor. His name is Glyn Barrett of Audacious Church. And he's telling this enthusiastic church audience about a recent encounter that he had with a university's atheistic society.
They said, Pastor Barrett, we would like you to come and get involved in a debate with all the atheists.
I have no idea what that would look like all the atheists at the university or in the group or in the community, or are they all on stage? Is he engaging people in the audience? Is it Q&A? I mean, it just sounds like a dubious format, right? Well, the pastor continues his story. He says, okay, fine, to the university, what is our debate topic going to be? And the atheistic society says,
the debate is this. The premise is there is no God.
Now, he informs his audience that he then drives to Cambridge for this debate. 800 to 1,000 students with the lead atheist on stage frothing and essentially preaching to his minions. And then the good Pastor Barrett, in this hostile cauldron of boos and hisses, walks to the stage and proves to this room of heathens that God exists because, and this is his reasoning, God exists because we don't know everything.
But this does exist, you just haven't discovered it yet. Yes. Therefore, could God not exist in a dimension that you haven't yet discovered?
We have a gap in our knowledge. Could God not live in that gap? Ta-da, the crowd goes wild. Now, I suspect this pastor is just self-gratifying in front of his hometown crowd. He tapped over the straw man and then congratulated himself on his victory. This is nothing new with apologists. He sure showed those godless people how things really are. I'm also interested in the way this pastor positions himself like Christ. He's booed by the heathen horde for his faithfulness, and yet he stayed faithful and emerged a victor, that kind of thing. Christianity manufactures this kind of persecution because it wants to be persecuted. It needs to be persecuted. It must paint the opposition as the sneering villain so that it can play the hero against it. But as you probably noticed, there are some major problems with Pastor Barrett's story. First of all, atheism is not the declaration that there is no God. Atheism is the lack of belief in gods. That's it. And like many of you, I had a hard time believing that an atheist group at Cambridge would ever set up such a poorly formatted and poorly themed debate. Didn't make any sense. Now, personally, I don't say there is no God. I don't make the absolute statement. I say I don't buy it. I don't believe in it because there's absolutely no evidence to support the God claims that are out there. And no, I don't count personal experiences and the unvetted anecdotes of pastors as proof. Now, we might declare that there's no benevolent or purely good, omnipotent God out there. I buy that. We can say there are no specific gods, the gods posited by humankind throughout history, the gods with proper names. Yeah, we can debunk those and say there is no Jesus or whatever. But the whole prove God doesn't exist angle is just a pathetic, shallow, hugely misguided or dishonest tactic by these chest-thumping believers who extol faith over knowledge. They believe for a variety of reasons. But in many cases, I think it's just because they want to believe, and they enjoy positioning themselves, like Pastor Glyn has done, as those fortunate souls, those enlightened souls who have the voice of God echoing inside their own heads. The second point is this: observing what is not known in no way proves a God. In all of history, every major and minor discovery by humankind has turned out to not be magic. And even if one was to paint a God into those gaps of our knowledge, that's a deistic argument, not a theistic one. It's not specific to Jesus Christ or Allah, Krishna, Wotan, Osiris, anybody. There are things we don't yet know. This has nothing to do with the merits of any specific faith, especially Christianity, which, let's face it, has long splintered against the evidence against it. The Bible's claims of talking animals, zombies, a global flood with a floating zoo, blood magic, giants, unicorns, an earth that has corners, and a God-man that decided teen pregnancy was the best way to save the world. This has all been exposed and debunked. The Bible's a mess. riddled with errors and contradictions and all kind of insanity, it has been disproven. This is an important distinction, because Christianity is the religion that God TV is promoting. This is not God's TV, where the thousands of gods posited by humankind all get a seat at the table. This is the promotion of a single religion centered around Jesus, and that religion has been disproven. In regard to other God claims, we assess the evidence for and against. And to date, any honest evaluation of the evidence has revealed only a natural and not a supernatural world. Speaking of honest evaluations, and I say this only because the video now has more than 11 million views out there, and because the facts matter. The Cambridge University Atheist and Agnostic Society was contacted by one of my listeners about this alleged debate with Pastor Barrett. They were asked to provide details. Cambridge has no record of any event with Pastor Glyn Barrett of Audacious Church, period. Quote, "We did not invite him, and this event did not happen. We've never heard of him." So unless Pastor Barrett met with another group in, like, the Cambridge parking lot, it appears he may have manufactured this story in his own mind to sell it to a hometown audience of happy-clappy Christians who were more than eager to take his word for it. Really, Pastor Barrett, to fabricate a story like this under the banner of truth with a capital T, now that is audacious.